Man, hold on a second. Let me get this Max Muncy MVP ticket out. You know, I really think the
Most walks in baseball? Yeah, he's got you there.
I really think the Miami Marlins could win like 89 games.
Man, I was thinking more like 90. If Sandy comes
At
back,
least
yeah.
89 minimum.
Hey, you
Minimum
never know.
89. Like,
Okay.
no?
Hey,
Yeah.
you know what? There's always a chance. Xavier
While we're
Edwards at
at
the
it,
top of the
Angels,
lineup.
Angels too. Angels. I mean,
Man,
why not?
bounce
Why
back.
not?
Mike Trout healthy.
I, for at least 6 weeks, at least.
I'll give it 7.
Maybe. Hopefully. Love the guy. I mean, he might as well be from Philly, but you.
I think at this point we're at what could have been with Mike Trout.
All right, welcome back. It is your boy Sosa Picks. It's Daily Bread. I'm joined by my guy Adam. Adam's Digest. Obviously, you see his name Adam on the tag. Everyone knows this guy after last year. Baseball is why and how we connected originally. Obviously, I learned of some of his other talents in other sports. How are things, my friend? How are we?
Things are great here in snowy St. Louis. Just ready to talk ball. This is what I love. Been in the live for a couple weeks now, and just ready to talk some baseball. Ready for some warmer weather here.
Been looking at charts, lots of charts.
Lots of charts. So many stats in my brain.
Charts and graphs and winners. That's like
only winners.
That's the main thing. First off, make sure if you're listening to like the video, subscribe to the Daily Bread Network on YouTube and TikTok and everywhere where you can find photos and videos of shit. Also follow Daily Bread Clips on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Just ways to find a bunch of content from me, Prop, obviously Adam, and a bunch of other people like Spin Doc and the team is steadily growing. It's a great time of the year. Obviously, we're entering into the Major League Baseball season, and we came here for a couple of things: to take you through the American League and tell you what teams are going to be good, why to bet on certain teams, maybe give you some free future bets. And, just like Adam said first, we're going to talk ball tonight. It's baseball season. We wait for MLB so we can bet on home runs on Tuesdays. I can't do it all 5 to 7 days a week, but there's so many different things to bet on in baseball. First and foremost, before we get into any of the team previews, give us a little bit of background about, like yourself. So anybody that might be unfamiliar, the markets that you might target and just how you go about betting Major League Baseball.
Yeah, so I appreciate love being on this network and giving you guys a little bit more, just a statistical breakdown. That's kind of like what I look at. I'm a statistics guy first when it comes to baseball. There's so many different things in baseball. The way I kind of like to start off with is variance is so big in baseball. So you can have the right read every single day in trying to say this guy has a great matchup, whether it's on Baseball Reference or you can go to Larry's website and give me insights and say this guy crushes the fastball, the slider, and the guy could have 150 mile per hour, barrel off the bat and line out to third base and you lose your bet. The thing about baseball, it's a season sport. It's a long span sport. So you can't take your every single day losses and, dwell on it. You got to go to bed that night saying, hey, I had the right reads. Let's go back to work the next day. Let's start digging into the games tomorrow, even if you have a bad day. But to me, the way I look at sports betting in general, and you've kind of seen this with some of my stuff with Prop and Sosa already. Like I look at different markets. I'm not a big like 2 bases, home runs. That's just you'll see me dabble in it a little bit. I'll probably tell a lot more than I'll actually do research myself on that. I kind of dug into the walk market a little bit last year, finding markets that aren't touched.
That's how we. That was the beginning of the season. I think opening day. It was like it was your thing. So
Freddie Freeman, my man.
I mean,
hey, and I was,
Mr.
Hey,
Grand
I was doing some research too, and
Mr. Grand Slam in the bottom of the ninth, brother. In the
Absolutely.
World Series, what dreams are made of.
He was goated for that, no doubt. But yeah, so like to me, it's like Finding ways to take variance out of sports is a big thing for me. I work hard. We all work hard for our money. I'm betting on baseball. I'm betting on all other types of sports. I want to win every night. I want to be the best ROI guy that there is. Finding the best edges, I think, is something that I kind of look forward to every single day. Whether it's walks, whether it's first 5 team totals, whether it's both teams to score 2 runs in the 7th inning, kind of taking advantage of markets that aren't normally touched. Because again, we all know sportsbooks make their money by volume, not necessarily stuff like that. So we really try to make sure that, or at least I do every single day, and I know we do here at the Daily Bread, just try to find angles that really kind of make sense. I like to give you guys statistics first, and you can kind of take that with what it is, and it's just kind of what I love to do, and love to do that all year, and I would do it again this year.
For sure. With that being said, we're going to get straight to it. We had some changes, had some turnover in the American League East. Obviously, we saw Toronto not pay Vlad. We saw Toronto not take care of their franchise guy, and him being asked, what are you looking for in a team of free agency? He says a winner, a team that wins.
Rough.
I start off with them because obviously they're the first ones on the screen. They're an interesting team with a very high payroll. I don't think people really realize how much money the Toronto Blue Jays have spent on this monstrosity of a lineup. We'll talk about them very briefly because obviously the rest of the division is much better or not necessarily much better. I think they're just much more fun to talk about. I think you kind of have a lot of negative stuff kind of hovering around the Blue Jays right now. It doesn't feel very positive, right?
Absolutely.
Any hope for the Blue Jays? We're trying to get the hopeless guys out of here first.
I got a fun little hot take for you.
For sure, go ahead for it.
The Toronto Maple Leafs. See, I got hockey in my brain. The Toronto Blue Jays will be the last. Will finish last in this division for 2025. I think with this rotation that you see on your screen here, Jose Berrios, Kevin Gausman, you got Chris Bassett. None of these guys stand out in any shape, way, or form. These guys have aged. They're aged. They're not young. Bowden Francis is your youngest guy here, and to me, I still don't believe in him. So, if one of these guys get hurt, now you're looking at Kevin Gausman as your number one. Another thing too is like there's not a lot of turnover on this rotation, so you got to think all these guys that have been in the AL East, like they've seen these guys before. They've got great history when it comes to hitter versus pitchers. Like there's a lot of stuff that I don't like about this team. You've already got some riffraff in the locker room with Vlad. You can't trade him because he's not going to get any. There's no value going back. I mean, you can try to trade him, but to me, I just think this team is not great. Bullpen, not great either. So give me the Toronto Blue Jays to finish last in this division in 2025.
Yep, not mad at that at all. Obviously, we just looked at that lineup. It's pretty garbage. I have high hopes for the next team we're going to talk about, the Baltimore Orioles. I think that obviously I was one of the first people on them a couple of years ago when they kind of like popped off and like I still feel like they're still very much ahead of the timeline, right? A lot of young guys. Listen, a lot of money coming in on Gunnar for MVP. I think Adley Rutschman's a terrible fit at 3 in the 3-hole, but he's never going to hit 25 home runs. Obviously, Cowser, love him. I don't know how long Jackson Holliday sits at 7, 8 in the lineup. I don't know how long that's going to hold up, but I think that this baseball team is an elite baseball team. I think they're one of the cream of the crop teams in Major League Baseball right now, and I really do love what they bring as far as just a lineup in general.
Agreed.
I think they win the division. I think the Yankees have taken a bit of a step back, not necessarily in a gigantic way, but I think it's a situation where their offense will be a work in progress for the majority of the season. And I think that I like what they did with the lineup. Obviously, we're going to talk about them a little bit more, obviously. But just in regards to this team, in regards to the Baltimore Orioles, I like that they got guys that are going to eat up innings as far as the pitching staff. I think that their Their bullpen should be much better this year, and it was good last year. But you get Felix back, and you get your pure setup situation, and you have a couple of long relief guys that are really good. I just like the way this team is made up. I like their owner. I think their owner won't be afraid to spend money given the state of the team. You got some young guys, and you know that you want to maximize what you have in front of you in order to get there. So I love this team. As far as betting, I'm going to probably bet Adley Rutschman's over home runs again. Why? Because I enjoy pain.
Absolutely.
What about you? Your thoughts on this? On the Orioles, the lineup, the pitching staff. Anything? Any takeaways? Anything that you've been eyeing in regards to
Yeah, you kind of hit on it. You kind of hit on it, like everything perfectly. This team added Charlie Morton to the rotation. I think that's a big get for them. Kind of obviously they lose Corbin Burns, but I think they bring in guys that obviously won't replace him, 1v1. But to me, you bring in Charlie Morton, who has the veteran presence to kind of help these young guys. They've already got one of the best, pitching coordinators in all of baseball. So I think they're Grayson Rodriguez could be literally take one step forward and add a cutter, and boom, he's a AL Cy Young candidate. I really think their offense is going to get them to the postseason, going to win that division. I totally agree with you. I think the Yankees have definitely taken a step back. We already talked about Toronto. We'll talk about the other guys here in a minute, but and again, I totally agree with you. Jackson Holliday will not be batting ninth, and if he is, that just goes to show how good their lineup's going to be all year long. So if he's batting ninth in September, it's because they're that good all year long. So
if he's batting eighth, best believe Matt Holliday is walking in the fucking clubhouse.
That's true.
You're sabotaging my son's career now. I'm not trying. I will not stand for that.
I love it. No, I absolutely love Baltimore this year.
All right, on to the Tampa Bay Rays, no longer the Devil Rays. They gave up that name a few years ago. I'm gonna let you go first because you got some thoughts on this team that I was a bit opposed to, but I'm gonna allow you to share your thoughts, and I'll be happy to rebut or maybe agree with some of it.
Yeah. So Tampa, I don't think they're going to be last in the division. We already talked about Toronto. My thoughts on them. I think they're going to be second worst. But I think a big reason why is because they're the organization that knows how to fix a pitcher. At least that's what their mantra has always been the last couple of years. They bring in a guy. They literally get rid of two or three pitches that weren't working for them at a previous organization, and they just say, "Hey, you're going to go to a 2-pitch pitcher, and you're going to be the best version of yourself." And I think with a couple of people they brought in. This rotation is glass, and I know you're probably going to bring that up, and it is very true. This rotation is one arm away from being shorthanded, but then you got Drew Rasmussen that's going to be in the bullpen coming off injury. Joe Boyle coming in from the Athletics. If you guys remember me, I always targeted Joe Boyle for his walks. But again, if there's going to be an organization that's going to fix Joe Boyle, it's going to be Tampa. One thing with their offense, you guys got to take in mind as well, and you can also kind of put this with the pitching staff as well. They do not have Tropicana Field this year. They are moving over to George Steinbrenner Field because of the hurricane and the damage that they did for the stadium. So they will be fully the entire year not in that pitcher-friendly ballpark. So just kind of keep that in mind when it comes to whether if you're trying to do like a season-long thing or if you're trying to be like, do I want to bet this person's over in home runs? That's actually might help them in their season-long too. So maybe some overs you might see if their starting rotation does get hurt at any point in the season. Still don't think they're going to be any worse than Toronto just because I think they do have a little bit of promise in their depth in their rotation if one of these guys do get hurt. But Shane McClanahan, one of the best starters in all of baseball, if he's healthy, if there's a big IF there. So don't hate this offense as well. So I'll let you, what's your thoughts on Tampa to this year?
Obviously McClanahan, superstar when he's right. That's undeniable. It's just the fact of the matter. The Tampa Bay Rays keep them a couple of starting pitchers that are really good. That's part of their existence and part of what you've seen. You said it all correct. They fix pitchers. Zach Eflin pulled up there. They fixed him. Easy work. I think they have a very solid starting rotation. I think Pepio, obviously, he comes out of the Dodger organization. I'm very familiar with him. He wears the high socks and he throws 96, 97. Like I said, the whole rotation, they throw hard. and they're relatively talented. You know, but for me, one, made of glass. Two, like you said, pitching outside all season. I think that's a detriment to this team. I'm glad you brought it up because that's what I was looking at. Like, yeah, they fix pitchers, but the pitchers know they don't got to go outside for 81 games.
Yep.
So it's a direct advantage, and you can, and it also helps you defensively. You don't got to worry about when, it's a lot. It helps a lot. So yeah, I think that plays into it for me. I'm not mad at the lineup, but I don't think it's good. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's good. So a mixed bag of results is probably what you will get.
Yeah, for sure. One guy to just keep an eye on from their offense, Junior Caminero, is going to be a stud, absolute stud, batting third in that lineup. Getting a little bit bigger park upgrade this year. Really think that's going to help his numbers season long. If you're looking for a season long prop, you can kind of look at some of his stuff. He's got a massive power. This dude can hit the ball with the best of them. So keep that in mind.
Oh shit! He opened up on my other screen. Junior Caminero, number 13, 6'1", 220, 21 years old from the Dominican Republic. He's only 21.
Yeah, he's a stud.
I mean, but that's the A's, or that's the Rays. Raising up kids. It's always some youngins.
Love it.
On to the New York Yankees. Obviously, the lineup, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm a Cody Bellinger guy. He started out a Dodger. Obviously, it's been a minute since he's been a Dodger. Went to Chicago. Played the windy ball field. I've heard a bunch of shit. Like he wouldn't have hit so many doubles. He'd have hit more home runs if those games were at Yankee Stadium. I will say that, one, I'm not mad at them not signing Juan Soto. Do you think it was a mistake for them not to sign Juan Soto?
That's a great question because the way, like you've kind of chopped this up before, like Juan Soto, even after a 10-year contract, he still might have one of the best plate disciplines, and he's a different breed. He can be signed to a long-term contract and still be valuable after 8 years, after his 8-year, because his approach to the game, he's not going to be hitting home runs, in 8 years at the rate he's doing right now. But the fact that, like, the value that he can bring to a team of, like, hey, he can get on base, like his on-base percentage is better than any I've ever seen in my entire life. Obviously, Tony Gwynn was right when I was born, and just the fact his pureness, being able to get on base. But Juan Soto's approach to the game is something that I think a lot of players are going to start doing. But I think, did they regret? I think they kind of did, just from the standpoint of,
or will they? Because you look at the lineup now, and I mean,
I think they will, because I think Aaron Judge is. I think Aaron Judge is a human being that is unbelievable. Can hit a 50 bombs a year. But the fact of the way you can pitch, you had to pitch to Soto because you had to pitch to Soto, one, because you had Aaron Judge behind you, and you had to pitch to Judge because Soto's already on base, and you don't want to put two guys on base. So again, that's, to me, I think they will regret it. This year, I'm not a big fan of their offense. You can bring in Paul Goldschmidt, you could bring in Cody Bellinger. You're not replacing Juan Soto. Those two guys alone. Obviously, you got a short porch, but Bellinger's always been a pull guy, so that's going to help his home run numbers. But he's still going to strike out with the best of them. So you just can't replace the ability to get on base that Soto brought to that team. And then you also lose Gleyber Torres. I mean, Jason Dominguez is not a true leadoff guy. He's never let off his entire career. He's got great plate discipline. He's got some contact. He's got some pop. He also has some speed too. But like, you're putting a guy, like, you're telling me that I have to bet on somebody to do good. He's never done it before. I can't do it. It could happen, but I'm not going to bet on it this year. And Gleyber was always able to get on base because he got pitches to hit because Soto was behind him. So they knew he was going to have to get some pitches. Their starting rotation, in my opinion, is nothing special. Garrett Cole he's a beast. Obviously, he is the most consistent pitcher that they have. Max Fried is coming off a year where he kind of stayed healthy. He had a forearm issue in 2023, or at the beginning of 2023. I think this is a great spot for him to come in because, obviously, You got that right field, which kind of suppresses power compared to Atlanta. I think Atlanta was a little bit worse in park factor there. Carlos Rodon still going to be the guy. The big wow factor to me is Luis Seal. Luis Seal coming off the AL Rookie of the Year last year. If he can repeat that performance and kind of find his command a little bit, he could be the ace of this staff going into the second half and the beginning of next year. So I think a lot of their success in the bullpen and the rotation is going to land on Luis Seal this year. You also got to remember this is the first time Luis Seal threw that many pitches. So just kind of keep an eye on that. Rookie throwing that many pitches into the postseason always scares me a little bit. So I think they come in second in behind the Baltimore Orioles in 2025 in the AL East.
I think I agree with everything you said in regards to this team. Going to be interesting to see the situation with Stroman. Stroman said he's not pitching from the bullpen. I agree. I think that what we're going to see is a 6-man rotation, just like you see right now on the screen. Because, like I said, there's a team that plays in Los Angeles that's very, very much forward thinking, and they happen to be stacked as fuck, and they're going to a 6-man rotation, and it should alleviate. It could alleviate a lot, or it could blow up in their fucking face. We don't know.
Sure.
Again, everything sounds good, but again, it's an extra day of rest, which sounds good. But these people are creatures of habit. They've been pitching on 5 days rest their whole existence in Major League Baseball. Routine is different. Could be a thing, could be nothing. Could be extra rest that everybody just needed. Again, you can't replace a Juan Soto to me, especially not with these. With these, I don't want to say anything bad. I think they're still a good baseball team. I still trust Aaron Judge. I still trust Garrett Cole. I like Fried. I think Rodon will have an uptick this year. I think he'll have a better year. And you mentioned Heel. I think Heel's is a special talent. But again, with any young pitcher, like you said, we got to monitor how they respond to their workload increasing year to year. All in all, Yankees, work in progress.
Playoff team, wild card?
Yes, they're in. Yep, they're in. Yep.
The AL West is loaded, man.
Yep, they're going to get in the playoffs.
The AL West is loaded. They could have 3.
Yeah, they're in. They'll get in.
All right.
The Yankees are getting in. It's the Yankees, man.
Yeah. They're going to add at the deadline too.
Yeah, but I think people are like higher on the rest of the division. I think that the Baltimore experiment will blow up in their fucking face. I like Walker Buehler because he's a former Dodger.
Of course you do.
I mean, I'm thankful for his service, like in the World Series. I'm thankful for him. He was good. He was a gamer.
Yep.
Are they going to get to a situation where he can be a gamer, or is he going to be 6-15? I don't know.
Walker Buehler will be in the bullpen by the end of the year.
I don't want to listen. I don't want to say nothing bad about the guy. He was a great soldier for the Dodgers for many years. We drafted him. He was always in the organization. I love the guy. I'm so grateful for what he did for my team. And I wish him nothing but success, but I have to see that he's got the stuff. He's got 2 Tommy Johns under his belt. He ain't pitching. You get 180 innings out of Walker Buehler. I don't know if he'll pitch the next season. We'll move on to the next. Let's get into the AL Central. First and foremost, we're going to talk about the team that's been probably the most consistent in the division over the last decade. The Cleveland Guardians. They weren't always the Guardians. They were another team. I'll be honest with you. I have no idea what to expect from this baseball team whatsoever. None. I have no expectation whatsoever. I mean,
it's all gonna depend on the health of their starting rotation. I really do think. As everybody remembers, we talked about this last year. If you're following myself, Sosa prop, anybody else the last year, Cleveland made a pretty drastic change, and it showed in the results. They took part of their scoreboard off down in right field. And so this ballpark became an absolute wind tunnel out to right. One of the big reasons why you saw massive amount of home runs for lefties last year. So, Jose Ramirez over 30 home runs. I think he could have another 30 home run campaign this year. But if you look at their starting lineup, they have one righty going up against a righty. They can throw out 8 lefties against opposing right-handers. So they lost Josh Naylor. He's in Arizona now. So they lost one of their
Good
big
one too. He's the good
big
one.
one.
He's
Big
the
one.
good
He was great. Yeah, the good nailer, right, for sure. But if you look at this, looking up and down this lineup, there's guys that can get on base. Their plate approach, their plate discipline numbers from a team is really solid. And Stephen Kwan at the very top. You get Jose Ramirez, 2 speedsters right out of the gate. And then you can, and say you bring in a lefty, then you got Noel coming in from the right side. I mean, the guy that can hit bombs. And I mean, this offense is going to be one of those things where you're like, I don't want to face this team in Cleveland. Now they might suck a little bit outside of Cleveland because their ballpark is such a big park factor for lefties. But to me, the whole how this team's going to do at the end of the year is going to be highly dependent on how healthy their rotation stays. So if you look here, you got Tristan McKenzie. He's what did you call him? Stick? Is that what
That's his nickname? Stick.
Stick. Yeah, the dude's like what 6'4" and like $180, if that. I mean, the dude's insanely thin.
Pretty accurate nickname.
Yeah, for sure. Like he can never stay healthy. Obviously, you got Tanner Bybee, who's coming off an injury in 2022, had a pretty decent year, bounce back year last year. He could definitely stay healthy. The only thing, like they brought in Luis Ortiz from Pittsburgh. The dude sucks against lefties. Like if anybody remembers, like if like we targeted Luis Ortiz in any good ballpark against any lefty coming in. So you bring in a guy who struggles against lefties. Hopefully they figure out his pitch arsenal because he's going to get rocked at home. So keep that in mind for when you're doing some daily bets or stuff like that. Luis Ortiz, terrible against lefties in a home ballpark that really favors left-handed power. Definitely keep that in mind. So really think this like you said, very consistent team year after year. They have a lineup that could cause a lot of problems at home. They could score a lot of runs. This might be a team that I actually take their overs because of how I'm not 100% based on their rotation. They do walk a lot of guys, and Tristan McKenzie and Luis Ortiz as well. So this might be a team where I actually kind of target them for overs live in games and stuff like that. So I think they're number 2 in this division.
Number 2, huh? Well,
sure do.
Bieber's not come back this year, right?
He's back.
He's back. He had UCL surgery last year.
I think it was in 2022, I believe.
I want to say he pitched like he was good. He was good for them. Like he came back last year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I'm looking at I'm like,
2022. So he
pitched his name. Why is his name?
2023, he pitched 142 innings. He went 10-4. Last year, he came back, pitched 173 innings, went 12-8, had a 3.47 ERA, pretty low WHIP at 1.12, expected ERA of just around 4, which not the greatest, but yeah, really low walk rate, 26% strikeout rate last year. So for Bybee.
Right. Because I'm over here like reading. Right, so it's a 1-year deal, the player option for next year. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see his name on it. I'm just like, he's still there. Like, why is he?
Oh, yeah, he's still there.
Yeah.
And they got to get him. All they have to do is get them to like inning 7, and then you got Cade Smith and Emmanuel Clase. Oh, my God. That bullpen's lights out. So
you're not lying.
Cade Smith is special. He could be, if Clase doesn't bounce back, if he doesn't, if say he gets hurt or something like that, then they even got Paul Sewell in that bullpen, a former closer. So get them to 7. That's all you need with this offense. I think they're number 2 behind KC, which we'll talk about here in a minute.
Tito's not the one calling the shots anymore. All right, moving on to the Kansas City Royals, obviously a playoff team last year, defeating the Baltimore Orioles in the opening round of the American League playoffs. Some structural changes in the organization. Obviously, last year you had Seth Lugo be a bit of a revelation. They have arguably the best player in baseball in Bobby Witt Jr. I think there's, it's a fair conversation across the board, depending on who you ask. That he's right up there. Obviously, Vinny P, everybody's familiar with him after last year. Salvi, a mainstay in the organization, in the lineup for, a decade. And then obviously, you got Jonathan India leading off.
That's
Um,
huge.
I think a lot of people love Reagan's. He had a good year last year. He's a legit ace, one would say. Um, as far as expectations for this team, I think that after last year, they think collectively that the sky's the limit. I think that they believe, in the lineup and the rotation. I mean, obviously, I don't know if Seth Lugo repeats what he did last year. However, I do like this team. I don't have any reservations on it outside of maybe betting on Bobby Witt to be an MVP, simply because I think he's I can't miss Major League Baseball player. He's going to be a star no matter what the circumstances or people around him in the lineup. Your thoughts?
Yeah, everything you kind of mentioned. The one that's low key, like one of the bigger signings in the offseason was Jonathan India. Jonathan India is a massive get for them. They never really had a leadoff hitter last year. They always had like a platoon of Miguel Garcia and a couple other guys. But Jonathan India can get on base. He walks with the best of them. He was one of my walk target candidates a lot last year. He brings an 11% walk rate projected. He had a 12% last year. Obviously, a little bit downgrade in ballpark from like a home run standpoint, but Jonathan India is not the guy you want to hit a home run. You just want him to get on base in front of Bobby Witt and Salvi and Vinny and everything like that. So I think that was a massive gift for their offense. From the rotation, they're just really steady. Cole Reagans, I think, obviously he lost a little bit of velocity on his fastball towards the end of the year, but I think that was his first year with a full workload. So I think that was to be expected. Obviously, seeing him in spring is going to be really important to see that he has his velocity back a little bit, and maybe just add another pitch and maybe kind of bring down the velocity to start the year, so that way he can honestly just kind of go a little bit farther into the year. I think that's a big thing as well. You get Seth Lugo, one of the best curveballs in baseball. Michael Wacha, who's going to be just a steady kind of like, just inning eater. Inning eater for them. So I think getting Michael Lorenzen, Chris Bubik is another great signing as well. So as another addition as well. So I really think this team's got all the pieces and with the best player in baseball on their team. Yes, I think Juan Soto is probably him and Bobby Witt are number 1 and 2 from like just a hitting standpoint. I think best player in baseball. So Kansas City Royals, I think, take the leap. And I know you got a little bit different opinion on me, but I think they come in first in the AL Central this year.
Oh yeah,
I think so.
Well, I'm not mad at you. Usually, my only reservation with them is that when the expectations are high, they tend to disappoint.
It's been a while since they've actually had a little expectation. So. Yeah. I think
exactly why
build on the momentum. So that's true. You're right. But who's the best pitcher to throw against Cleveland with all those lefties? Cole Reagans.
Correct. That's undeniable. All right, moving on to the Detroit Tigers, who are the team that I absolutely love in this division. I think that I love the manager. 2, I love the top of their rotation. I like their rotation generally. I like everything about what you see on paper in regards to this baseball team. I think that they've turned the corner. I think that what you saw and got from them the last 10 weeks of the Major League Baseball season is what you're going to get from this team for the full year. Love the Gleyber Torres signing. I think it was very low key. I don't think people really understand how valuable that was to them. I love the lineup 1 through 6. And I think that there's legit upside 7, 8, 9. We're talking about guys like, obviously Javi Baez, who's not who can be worked in. That obviously you see it, Andy Ibanez and Spencer Torkelson, whom again is a guy who has not fulfilled his potential as based on where he was drafted as a player. However, I think from a depth standpoint, I like the lineup. I think from a rotation standpoint, they have the best pitcher in baseball. As of last season, they had the best pitcher in baseball. Getting Flaherty back. What's odd is that they performed better when Flaherty got traded last year, right? Like they really turned it up when they got rid of him and he ended up with LA. But I think that one, obviously, if he had stayed with the Tigers, he would have been able to experience some level of winning. But because they did perform well in the playoffs, they did a little something with the chips. They tried to do a little something, but they obviously came up short. The Yankees were far and away the better teams, the better team when it comes to the AL. But for me, I think Detroit wins the division. I think it's their year. I think that they've taken the correct steps. They stayed the course from a managerial standpoint, not giving up on the guy who they entrusted with the young team who had underachieved, and I think that they're only going to get better. So that's my belief. I like the lineup. I like the rotation. I think the Tigers are in a prime position to take control of this division.
I love it. Yeah. So my only issue with Detroit is there's just too many strikeouts in the lineup. They have really good guys. Obviously at the top. But if you look at their projections, like they have one of the higher team strikeout rates. Like the 7 through 9 has like a 27, 25, and 30% projected strikeout rate. When it comes to playoffs, when it comes like the crucial games in September and early October, you need guys that can get on base, and you're going to have those guys at the top, But to me, it's all about who can get there and can get on base and can have those clutch moments. And I just see too many holes in this lineup. Obviously, they have unbelievable Tariq Skubal, Jack Flaherty. Think that's a great signing for him to be back in back with the team that kind of really saw his injury was kind of messing with his mechanics. They made some adjustments, and boom, he had one of the better first halves of the year last year. So I think I know I kind of love it that we're on different sides of this team, but because obviously baseball is it's so long, because you could say, oh, I think the Tigers are going to win, I think the Royals are going to win, but injuries could happen, and boom, they're third. And it's kind of fun, but it's kind of nice to have a little bit different sides here. I just see a little bit too many strikeouts in this lineup, and I could be wrong. They can make a change in spring, and I could be eating crow. So I just see, to me, just kind of what I'm seeing. I think they're third in this division.
This will be AJ Hinch's first masterpiece with the Detroit Tigers.
I hope so. That'd be fun.
He is going to show you he is cut from the cloth of the Tito's and the Tito. I think the Tito's, the Bochy's. I think he's one of those guys, man. I really think
he's awesome.
And I really do believe that AJ Hinch is one of the most underrated superstar managers in the sport. And also, if the manager's not old, you're not winning shit.
True.
AJ Hinch is old. They got a chance. Team got a young manager. They're not winning a motherfucking thing. Right. Not in baseball. No, sir. The thing is that Dave Roberts grew old on the job.
That's true.
So it worked out great. He was young. Now he's old.
Absolutely.
Now he's unfuckwittable. Listen, that's the second time I brought him up. People better be happy. People better be very happy. It's only happened twice. They better be happy.
Thank you for making only twice.
Listen, man. I try to do him a service. I try to be of service. Moving on to the Twins. The Twins, good baseball team on paper. On paper, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is a very sexy lineup. This is a sexy lineup. It looks beautiful on paper. It really does. If I'm lying, tell me I'm lying. That lineup looks beautiful.
For April.
It looks fucking beautiful. I mean, listen, to me, I said this the other day, I think Royce Lewis could be the best player in baseball.
100%.
I think he has the ceiling of being the best player in baseball. Went number one overall. He's one of those special talents on the field, going yard every night. Only problem is he plays like 75 fucking games a year.
Yep. He's unbelievable, but he just can't stay healthy.
Buxton, another one.
That's
what the
Glass.
fuck are they feeding him in Minnesota?
Glass.
Craziest part is Correa was supposed to be the guy that was fucked up physically. It's been the complete opposite. He plays every day.
Yep.
Listen, I love this lineup. I love their top three in their rotation. I know people like Paddock some people like Paddock as a 4. Listen, I love the top of the rotation. But again, like you said, everything for this baseball team looks wonderful in April. And then you get to May. And then June. And it's
completely different lineup.
It's completely different. So
yep.
That's my thoughts on the Twins. Your thoughts on the Minnesota Twins and what you might see from them.
Yeah, so the Twins, like you just said, their lineup, it looks great. Obviously, from Castro to leading off, getting on base, to Trevor Larnach for the left side. You also got to think like this is one of the harder like, and any team in the AL Central. And I haven't touched on this yet, but I'll touch it on this as well. Minnesota, Chicago, all of these guys are going to be struggling to temperature wise to get out of the 50s in April, right? Then you get a little bit, you have a later summer and you have an early winter. So from a power standpoint, these guys can still hit it out of any ballpark in any weather with the power that these guys have in Royce Lewis and Trevor Larnach, and hell, even Matt Wallner is a stud too in his own right. They got 2 really good lefties in the middle of that lineup. But to me, you got to make sure you got to also just kind of keep in mind this weather is not the best situation when it comes to park factor. That it's pretty neutral when it comes to hitter or ballpark, hitter or pitcher ballpark. I'm trying to say. So to me, you got to stay healthy. That's a big if for this team. Their starting rotation. Obviously, the cold weather helps the rotation. You got one of the 2 top guys in Joe Ryan and Bailey Ober. I've seen a couple of guys on Joe Ryan as a possible Cy Young candidate, which I don't hate. The dude's got some crazy stuff, a lot of extension. Again, it's just a matter of staying healthy. If you're only pitching 158 innings, you're not getting Cy Young. So really just want to make sure that everybody stays healthy. That's a big if for this team. Don't like the ballpark. So to me, it's right around 3rd or 4th in the division for me.
All right. And we're moving. And what we'll do real quick is we'll talk about the White Sox. Psych. Fuck that. We're not talking about the White Sox at all.
No. They're terrible.
Before we get up out of here, just some thoughts on best bets in regards to AL Central, AL East. I can pull up the book so we have some clarification. All right.
I'll start us off with a play.
All right.
We're going to go with the Toronto Blue Jays. We're going to take their 78.5 team total wins under.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're 2 games under 500. 3 games under 500.
Okay, 78.5. And I will go with this right here. The Baltimore Orioles, they're going to win. The Baltimore Orioles are going to win 90-plus games. I like them over 88.5. Again, love the way the team is constructed. I like the way the bullpen is constructed. I like everything about this baseball team.
I love it.
And then obviously, like I mentioned earlier, I am 100% going to bet on some home runs for the season. In the divisions that we just watched, I am going with Aaron Judge over 48.5 home runs. I still think he gets to 50. I think that he just, again, there's going to be certain runs in the season where he just is outrageously good. And I again, for a guy that's coming off 58, I can't see him regressing to taking out 18% of his home runs being diminished because one guy left the lineup or totally 2 guys. I guess you could say Glaber too, but I think that the floor for Aaron Judge healthy is 50 home runs, brother.
I love it. I think that's a great look there. I'm going to take I was hoping they'd have a line for him, but they don't. I was looking for Matt Wallner, but they don't have him just yet. Keep an eye on that. I think I like his over just because he's got that much power. But we're going to go with Jose Ramirez, like I talked about, over 27.5 home runs. Again, he had 30 plus last year, I believe. The guy just has the perfect landing spot. His his bat path as well. He kind of worked on that in the offseason last year, and he's got a little bit more higher launch angle this year, and he's still hitting the ball really hard. So I think 27.5, he can get up to 30 if you want to do that. On DK, they have like a 30 plus. Don't hate that for plus money. So love Jose Ramirez again until I see him slow down, and I don't see him slowing down.
For sure. The next one that I love as far as a home run prop is Gunnar Henderson over 30 and a half home runs. I think that, again, it's his third full year, not entering his third full season into Major League Baseball. And I believe that this is the year where we start talking about him like an MVP player. I know there were people that were having those conversations last year. I don't think he was quite there, obviously, because Aaron Judge was so far ahead of everyone. It's basically like as if Shohei never left and they just replaced his name with Aaron Judge. Obviously, that's what the fuck it was. I like Gunnar a lot, especially he's gonna have protection in the lineup. He's gonna be able to get on base. I just don't see a situation where he doesn't get to 31 home runs. I just think the lineup is too good. We're gonna obviously talk about some other stuff. As far as stolen bases, there was obviously
one strikeout prop.
Okay, yeah,
kind of goes, yeah. Strike. Are you talking about stolen bases? Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, no. Who you like for strike as far as strikeouts? You got it.
We're gonna take Garrett Crochet. We talked about him a lot. We're gonna take his under 199.5 strikeouts.
Interesting.
I think injury bug's gonna get him, and I think 199.5 is a little too high for kind of what we talked about with his injury history. So, for
sure, not mad at any of that. As far as stolen bases, we're going to go right back to Bobby Witt. Over 32.5 stolen bases this season. Listen, I expect a spike in every offensive category. Home runs, doubles, everything. He should, if he's one of them ones like we believe that he is, that I believe that he is, he's born to play the game. I think he just recently got married. He just settled in life.
Yep.
I just feel like, I think we're going to get 40-40. I think 40-40 is on the plate for Bobby. I really do. I think 40-40 is a legit goal. And I think he's fully capable of it. And I think that we're going to see it. The good thing is he doesn't have to worry about getting paid or getting hurt. He already got a long-term deal. They paid him like the prince of the city that he is. And they took care of him. So,
totally agree.
So, again, I expect a huge year from Bobby Witt. I expect a huge year from Gunnar Henderson. I think the 32.5 stolen bases is an absolute steal, for lack of a better word, all puns intended. And
it's kind of funny, the American League MVP, the top 4 of the top 6 candidates on the betting side or from the AL Central we just talked about, or the AL East we just talked about in Central. So.
And then obviously, like I said, I like the Tigers to make the playoffs.
Absolutely.
I'm not opposed to any of that. And I would not be surprised if they're good from start to finish. I don't expect for them to be bad, like really bad at any point. You did mention, a couple things that are really important in regards to their rotation, or not their rotation, their lineup. There are some strikeouts there, but I do think that this is a year of progression. I think you will have forward progression. And I like their rotation for as far as pitching as well. But yeah, we did get through the AL East and the AL Central. We will be back with the people for more smoke and a lot more bets and a lot more analysis in regards to the upcoming season. We do appreciate you all joining us. Make sure you like the video. DM Adam if you have any questions. Don't tell me shit. DM him. Do not. I don't want to talk to any of you. Hopefully you win the bets, but DM him. He will be happy. He's more than happy to take care of you.
Got you.
We appreciate you for joining.
Of course.
Make sure you guys sub to the channel. Make sure you guys like the video. Follow my guy at Adams Digest. You got anything else just before we get? You want to add anything before we get the fuck out of here?
No, we're good.
AL Central. Okay.
Nope, let's have a great year.
The Yankees need to grow the fuck up. Okay, you mad about
superstars?
You mad about guys taking pictures with chains? You got grown men showing up to work with baby faces. Okay.
Yep. I was just about to bring that up.
I'm not gonna lie. In 2025, I'm more concerned about a fucking mustache than a than a chain. I'm just saying. But yeah, we'll catch you. We'll catch you on the next one. Y'all be safe. Peace.